Hi, this is Sierra, and I'm back to do a video regarding my deck collection. So I decided that since I have so many decks, it would be best for me to split them up into categories. I've already done a video on the decks that I use for shadow work and inner child healing, and this video is going to be regarding decks that I use for my spiritual journey, or if I'm doing a reading for someone else, their spiritual journey. So they basically can help you to figure out what the next steps are that you should take as far as your spiritual journey, where you are with your spiritual journey, and what divination tools may benefit you. I'm just going to turn my phone off really quickly so it doesn't ring. So what I'm going to do is briefly discuss some of the decks, and then at the end of the video, I will do a brief walkthrough to show some of the cards from each deck. So it won't be all of the cards, but enough to give you an idea of what the cards are like in the deck. So first we're going to talk about the Secret Language of Light deck. This was created by Denise Jarvie. This one is good for call to action, meaning basically telling you what the next steps are that you need to take in order to move your situation into a more positive direction, or how to elevate further along your spiritual journey. It also has journal prompts, so each card will come with a journal prompt in the book. So it will help you to write about the card or the theme on the card. You can also use it to meditate. I like to look at the cards or focus on the cards. As you can see, there are beams of light on the cards. So if you have trouble sitting with your eyes closed, your legs folded, and just being still, you can focus on an object to meditate also. So I like to use these cards for that. The other way I like to meditate is active meditation, so walking. You can also use this deck to see what you need to work on or what you need to focus on. So let's go ahead and go to the next. Next, we have Flora and Fauna by Jesse Jumunji. This deck is good for calls to action, so you'll hear me mention that for most of these decks. They are good for telling you what you should do next, or confirming that you are doing some of the right things. Each card has a keyword or phrase, a summary paragraph, and a botanical as well as an animal. And there are a wide variety of animals, so not just your typical cat or dog. You will see some animals that you probably haven't heard of. I do believe they are all from Africa, and some of them are extinct, some of them are not, and this is on linen cardstock. It's pretty easy deck to shuffle, and I have really small hands, so that's saying a lot. So you can focus on the keyword, the summary, the animal, or the botanical. You have so many different things you can draw from when you're using this deck. So this is a really great deck to use for spiritual journey readings. Next, we have The Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. Again, this deck is good for call to action. It's also very diverse, so you won't just see one type of culture represented. There are Black people, brown people, um, Native American. So I believe on the website or the Amazon website, the air just came on. I forgot to turn it off. So hopefully y'all can't hear that. But the deck combines spirituality from Aboriginal, Celtic cultures, and earth magic. So also on the cards, there are angels and guardians. I think he calls them guardians sometimes. And then there are also elements. So fire, water, earth, and I think wind is the other one. And also the key phrases on the cards are very well thought out. They are not your typical key phrases. How, if you have a lot of decks, you typically will run into the same words or phrases in several different decks, but you can tell he really thought out the phrases that he wanted to use for his deck, so that kind of makes it stand out. So I really do appreciate this deck and I like to use it. Also, the artwork in the deck is by Lily Moses. I try to mention the artists and the illustrators when I can remember, because if it wasn't for their artwork, a lot of us wouldn't be drawn to the decks in the first place. So let's go ahead and go to the next deck. Next, we have Divination of the Ancients. This was created by Flavia Kate Peters, Barbara, I always mess up her name, Barbara Michael John Free, and Richard Crooks. So this card is good to use if you want to see what your spiritual gifts are, or whoever you are reading for. Each card represents a different form of divination. So we all pretty much know about tarot, oracle, dream interpretation. Let me go back. Palm reading, that type of thing. But there are some things that I didn't really know about, like hydromancy. So this deck will help you to not only figure out what your spiritual gifts are, but also what you may want to look into, or what you may want to research more about, something that you may not have realized would be beneficial towards you. Okay, next we have the Whispers of Lord Ganesha. This was created by Angela Hartfield, and bear with me when I say this name, Ekaterina Golovanova. um, so I believe Angela is probably the author and Ekaterina may be the artist, but you can use this deck to see how far along you are on your spiritual journey, call to action, spiritual guidance. Also, there are chakras included on some of the cards, so if you have a chakra that you need to work on, um, or if you have one that's pretty strong, it can confirm that also. And then also, this is another deck that has interesting key phrases, so it's not just the typical key phrases that you get used to seeing on these different decks. Okay, so next we have the Crystal Mandala by Alana Fairchild. Um, each card has a crystal. They are in one of three categories as far as angel numbers. I believe the numbers she chose were 444, 888, and I don't remember the third one. So each card has one of those three numbers on it, and then also either an ascended master, a goddess, or an angel. You can use these cards for encouragement and healing, also spiritual guidance. The guidebook is well thought out. It is very useful. Her guidebooks typically are. The only thing is, if you are looking for the guidebook to explain what the crystals mean, or what they do, or what their property, it doesn't really focus a lot on the crystals. So if that's what you're wanting from a deck when it comes to crystals, that's not in this deck, but it is a very good deck to use, especially if you're reading for yourself. And then we have the Isis Oracle. This is also by Alana Fairchild, and this is the first deck that I ever purchased. It was illustrated by Jimmy Manton. Again, the guidebook is well thought out. It includes incantations for each card. It's great for self readings and it's very encouraging. And we have the Yogic Path Oracle. This was created by Sahara Rose and illustrated by Danielle Noel. I believe Danielle illustrated Rebecca Campbell's decks, the Work Your Light, and the Starseed. I have the Starseed Oracle. I don't have Work Your Life. Haven't really used the Starseed one a lot, but I feel like it could probably fit in this category. So back to the Yogic Path Oracle. This is good for call to action. It has Hindu deities on it. It's organized in three categories: yoga, chakras, and deities. So again, if you need to work on your chakras, this deck would be good for that. The guidebook is in color and it does have the upright and reverse meanings. The cards are pretty easy to shuffle and they're pretty. I really bought this deck because of how it looks. This is the first deck I've purchased solely on how it looks because the keywords are not in English. Now the book translates them. So I think, for example, Manipura is one of them, and I think that's the solar plexus chakra. So in the book, it will tell you in English what the keywords mean. But I just really like the way this deck looks. But I was surprised when I started using it. I found it to be very useful when I'm doing readings on myself. So I usually use it for myself, but you can definitely use it for other people as well. Next, we have the Sacred Destiny Oracle, and this was created by Denise Lynn. I like to use this deck for spiritual guidance, and the pictures on this deck are just beautiful. They're colorful, vibrant. You can use this for call to action, and also clearly I timed my PowerPoint wrong. Also, the keywords are simple, but they're very powerful. So now let's go ahead and move to the next one. The next deck is Magickal Herb Oracle. This was created by Sherilyn Darcy and illustrated by Dear Dandy. And you can use this deck to determine what herbs would be beneficial to you in your spiritual work or practices. Also, it can help you to learn what the spiritual properties are as far as certain herbs. So it can kind of double as like flashcards if you wanted to learn what the properties are for certain herbs. Next, we have Botanical Inspirations. This was created by Lynn Araujo, and this one is very small. I don't know if you can tell by the picture, but the deck is really small, but I like that because I have really small hands. So you can use this for spiritual growth or love readings. I found that it is very useful in love readings. Also, the cards include a botanical, a key phrase, and a quote on each card. It advises of what certain botanicals can be used for spiritually, and you can use this for call to action or confirmation that you're doing the right thing. Next, we have the Moonology Oracle cards. So this deck was created by Yasmin Bowen. It's good to help determine the outcome of a situation. Also, call to action, encouragement, and guidance. Um, and that's it. So that's all of the decks that I like to use for my spiritual journey readings. Of course, there's more than just that, but these are the main ones. Now we're going to do a walkthrough so I can show you some of the cards from each of the deck. I'm not going to show all of them, but some of them. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you have a good day.